Welcome to the This Lyric That Truth podcast. And I'm really excited to talk to you today, Adam Agee, because you have just been in the news as the newly anointed lead singer of the Newsboys, but the band is not completely unfamiliar to you, right?
Yeah, it is. It is fresh as of about 2 months ago. Stepped up from playing bass and guitar in the band to the microphone. Stepped up to the microphone, if you will, Newsboys reference. But yeah, I've known these guys for 20 years. We did a tour together back in the day with my old band Stellar Cart in 2007 on the Go Tour, and we really hit it off. And then for the last 10 years, I've been opening up for them on tour in various forms, and then been in the band. This is my third year in the band.
Adam, you were also with Audio Adrenaline. What were you the lead singer in Audio Adrenaline and Stellar Cart?
Yes, I was. Yeah, Stellar Cart since well, what my kids call the 1900s. We started that, and then we did that for a while, and then for Audio Adrenaline, did it for an album and for a couple of years while we were raising money for their Hands and Feet project down in Haiti. But yeah, sang lead for both those bands.
How did you go from singing lead to both of those bands and then opening for the Newsboys to then you became the was it the bass player for the Newsboys
Hmm.
too?
You know what? I actually kind of enjoyed not being the guy,
Okay.
for a little bit, since that's all I'd ever known was being in the front and center, and I really enjoyed supporting the band, filling in the gaps. They jokingly call me their utility guy, and so
Mhm.
but I like that, and I
Mhm.
like being able to serve in that way, and was certainly not expecting any of this to happen. I was totally content in my role and really enjoyed. I was part of the writing process too, which was really fun, which I'm really passionate about. And so
Right.
they invited me in to help write a lot of this new album, and so I was just happy to do that and be behind the scenes and all that. And but yeah, then I guess God had other plans, and so here I am back in the front.
It was about 6 weeks ago when Michael Tate unexpectedly stepped down away from the Newsboys and many songs he had already recorded. So then part of this process is that you've got to go back and re-record some of those songs, but you had written them too. So talk me through that.
Yeah, actually, our song "How Many Times" that we had released to radio, I think a week before he stepped down, was the first song that I wrote for this new project. It was the first chance I got to write a song, and it's just I just wrote a song about my personal journey, basically from all the different seasons in life. And when you've been doing this, I've been doing it for 25 years now, and so there's good seasons where you're celebrating,
Mhm.
and then there's just like life that, and then there's really tough seasons where there's just I'm like, God, what are you doing? And I have no idea, and none of it makes sense. But he would just give me these little glimpses of hindsight, telling me, hey, you went through that so that you could get to here, or you wouldn't be who you are today if you hadn't had to go through that situation. And so just little things like that. And I know it'll all make sense someday, but it's just those little moments that prove how he has been there the whole time, and
Mhm.
he's faithful the whole time, and
Mhm.
he loves me more than I could ever even comprehend. And so I just wanted to write about that, and about this new season that I had, and how faithful God was, and how he could, and even more so now that just has things planned for our lives that we could never even dream up. And so um,
Mhm.
yeah, it's a song about how much he loves me personally, but I know that there are so many people that
Mhm.
have gone through those similar mountains and valleys in life. And so it's a
Mhm.
song you can listen to when you're happy. It's a song you can listen to when you're sad. And it's just a song about how much he loves us.
Adam, the title of our podcast is called This Lyric That Truth, because sitting on this side of the microphone in Christian radio, which I've done for 26 years, and I totally relate to what you're saying with hills and valleys, and there's great seasons. And then there's times where you're like, I've done this for so long. Am I supposed to do something else or,
Hmm.
in a different capacity? But then so many listeners will call the radio stations and they'll talk about a lyric in a song that just lights up their soul or connects with them, or they're going through something really hard themselves. And then they hear you singing about that thing and it connects them with God. Is there a lyric in that song that's one of your favorites that stands out to you as you sing it?
Yeah, I mean, it's it's the second verse says, just how many times have you answered a hopeless prayer? And it's just that it's what that says is, it just says that I'm so my faith is so weak, and it's just frustrating because I feel like he's proven the other lyric in the song is, he's proven that he loves me over and over and over, but yet my faith is still so weak, and I just lift up these prayers like, God, you're not even listening right now, but I'm still going to keep praying, and it just feels like it's
Mhm.
hitting the ceiling. And then he answers it in one way or another. Sometimes it's not the way that I wanted him to answer it. A lot of times it's not, but then
Mhm.
he continues to just be faithful as we move on, and
Mhm.
I get to see a little bit of why it wasn't answered in that way, that I couldn't understand at that time.
There's so many closed doors, and we get so frustrated when the doors close, and we're like, why is it like that? And I don't even know if you'll ever totally understand about the closed doors, right?
Hmm.
But that's what faith is, and walking through it and trusting God and keeping, to pray about it. When do the Newsboys head out on the worldwide Revival Nights tour?
Well, we've had about, I think, 7 or 8 shows, maybe 9 shows. I don't know. It's all a bit of a
Okay.
blur for the last couple months, but
Okay. So you're on tour right now.
we had a show booked 4 days after we found out that Tate was stepping down, and so we had to scramble and figure out how to start. And so it's man,
Mm-hmm.
it's been so sweet and special, and especially that first night we played in Missouri. There were a couple thousand people, and it felt like by the time we were in the back half of the show, it felt like 10,000 people singing at the top of their lungs, and it was I'll never forget it, just because of how that crowd wrapped around us in that time where we were hurting, and we were trying to figure out next steps, and they sent us so much love, and it's been like that city after city. We've felt so much love coming back at us from the people at the shows, and it's been so special. And I know all the guys are really uplifted by it, encouraged by it. And so yeah, we're continuing our tour. We've got a bunch of shows booked all the way through, I think, through like end of April or something
Yeah.
like that. But
I know
yeah.
you're going to be in our area April 12 in Muskegon. And what do you feel inside in replacing somebody like Michael Tate? I know you were on the electric guitar, but do you feel any kind of pressure, or do you feel like God opened this door wide for me and I'm just going to walk through it?
Yeah, it's. I mean, you can never replace somebody like Tate. He's such an icon. He's got such an amazing voice, and so I never really even thought about replacing him. It was just more of, how do I serve the song? How do I serve this band in a way, and the fans in a way, to where they're going to get the best. Everybody's going to get the best Newsboys experience.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where I came from. Is just be me, and hopefully they like it. And if they don't, that's okay, because I can just I can at
Yeah.
least say, hey, I was me. I did my best to give the best Newsboys show that we could give,
Hmm.
but certainly not trying to be anybody else, or even fill anybody else's shoes, whether it's Michael or Peter. That's just too crazy to even try. And so I'm just going to be myself, and let the other guys who have all been in the band over 30 years, let them shine, and celebrate them, and the legacy that they've created, and just let people know about that. Maybe if they don't even know.
I think it's really special that the audience is really responding in the way that they're responding and that you can feel it because you can tell, right? You can tell if
Oh yeah.
people weren't really embracing the change, but to just know in the first couple of shows that they really are is awesome.
Well, that's where it's real. I mean, we get lost in this online world of comments and social media stuff, and people who don't know or don't haven't been to a show or don't know anything really that's going on, and they're commenting, which they have the right to do, but you can get lost in that. And so then when it gets real is when you are actually like, okay, here's where we are, here's where our heart is. Here we're at a show. These people paid money to come to see maybe something different than what they're going to see tonight. And then when we're able to go do our thing and they're like, yes, we're in 100%, we're with you guys, we love you, it's like, okay, we're still, we feel like, God's not done with the Newsboys. We still got some work to do.
God is not dead.
That's
He
right.
is not dead, right? Somebody, we did mention on our social media that we were having a conversation today, and so we invited people to ask some questions. Were you a part of the Newsboys when they made the movie God's Not Dead, or was that before your time with them?
That was before, well, yeah, I was yeah, that was right before my time
Okay.
with them. And
Okay.
then when actually Stellar Cart had a song in that movie.
Oh, really? What
um,
song was that?
it was a song called Ones and Zeros. And if you listen, it's in there for like 5 seconds, but it's like,
It counts.
um, yeah, it totally counts. And then in the second movie, Audio Adrenaline had the opening song, "Sound of the Saints."
Okay. So you've been a part of a lot. How does that feel hearing your music in a movie like that?
It's cool. It's really crazy. We were in the Franklin Theater for a screening of the second one, and the movie starts and it's you know our song playing as they're doing the sweeping scapes and everything. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then it got really crazy because we filmed the most recent one. It's called God's Not Dead, in God We Trust, and it just released a couple months ago. But seeing yourself up on the big screen, and the music that goes along with it, it's pretty wild.
That's exciting. That's really fun. So any plans for a third installment of that movie or no? Not
I don't,
quite
I
yet.
don't I don't know. That's above my pay grade. I'm not sure.
You had mentioned, and I do not want to get into specifics, but you had mentioned people commenting online, which is something, radio stations deal with too, right? Comments about different things. How do you deal with that as a band? What do you, how do you respond to questions or criticisms or the fact that everything is so public and you want to keep promoting Jesus and all of it?
Hmm. I I think God's done a sneaky job of preparing me for all this over the years. With my first band, Stellar Cart, we were like a pop punk band, and so that was a very polarizing genre that you either loved it or you're like, this is the worst music I've ever heard in my life. And it was kind of in the
Yeah.
birth of social media. Like there was very little social media going on,
Yeah.
but man, I had people from day one saying, you should quit music, you're horrible,
This isn't
please
even
stop.
Christian.
It's like, you guys are awful. Like, not only, it's just so many
Yeah.
negative things that I'm just like, what,
Yeah.
these people don't know what they're talking about. And so it, through that experience, and I've had a lot of really good people in my life who have counseled me in a way of like, hey, if somebody says something bad about you, you just you receive it and you let it go. And it's the
Hmm.
same thing if somebody says you're amazing and you're the best thing that's ever happened to music. You receive it, you say thanks, and you let it go. You don't hang on either one. You don't hold your identity in either one of those things. And so I think that's helped me personally along the way. And then in Newsboys, we have such a fantastic team around us that really helps manage a lot of that stuff. And so they protect us, I think, a lot from some of the kind of crazy stuff, and they protect the other fans too, who don't necessarily need to see. some of those things that are aired publicly, and then uh, we just try to stick together and say, hey, we're moving forward, and things
Yeah.
happen, and it's okay, and
Hmm.
we'll let the people deal with it the way that they deal with it, and we're just going to keep moving forward.
I think that's wise. I think that's really wise. What are you excited about with the worldwide revival nights? Other than the new lead singer,
Yeah,
what can people expect? Is it
you,
any kind of different show than the previous ones or?
yeah. I highly recommend it. You really want to come see the new lead singer.
For
um,
sure.
no, it's actually really fun because we kind of start out and do a rock and roll set. We play some of the new songs from the new album, which are going over really well, and then we may or may not have the uh, the other member of the band, which is the spinning drum riser that's been out for ages, and so you
Yeah.
might see Duncan flying through the air. And then we do like a little throwback set where we play some of the classics. And so if you've been a Newsboys fan from the '90s, you're
Give
going to
me
get to
some
sing
give me
along.
some of those titles. I've been in Christian radio a long time.
Oh,
Are you going back to
you'll
Shine
know
and like what?
Shine, you'll know Breakfast,
Yep.
Entertaining Angels,
Yeah.
It Is You, Amazing Love, Take Me to Your Leader. Like there's some cool old school vibes, and we play at He Reigns, and so there's a lot of fun nostalgia going on, and then we kind of finish the night with a big epic worship set, and it's just so cool every night.
You grew up listening to the Newsboys, right?
Oh yeah.
How does it feel to have listened to all these songs the first time through and then be playing them on stage? Like, I can't even wrap my head around what that must feel like.
It's really weird. I even say something like that from stage when we're introducing a song, and
Mhm.
I think the first time I said it or something, I said like, "Yeah, it's cool to be singing up here." I had these guys' pictures on my youth group wall, and, and Duncan got mad at me, like maybe it
Yeah.
was an age thing, but I thought it was no, he was just joking, but I thought it was really funny because it's true. Like I remember vividly, like a poster of "Take Me to Your Leader" on the wall of my youth room, and so
That's
it's
amazing.
wild.
Look what God did with your story. That's incredible. What kind of advice do you have to other people that are going through, maybe not on the scale that you just dealt with it with the Newsboys, but going through something where things were going one way, the expectation was this, and then there was an abrupt stop, and then very, very quickly you have to decide a new course because that does come up in life, a lot. How did you guys deal with that?
Well, it was. I mean, it might sound cliche, but it was a lot of prayer. I mean,
Mm.
I think when you get a bunch of people praying together for the same thing, then you definitely start to feel the direction of what you're supposed to go. And I think God kind of leads in that way. But it's also it's just for me, it's just continue to work and ask, is this God, is it, do you want me to still do this? Is this still what you want me to do? Because I've been on the verge of quitting music altogether multiple times and going and I don't know, teaching high school and coaching basketball or something like that.
Mhm.
Totally, I'd be totally happy doing that. And
Yeah.
I've told God that many times. Whatever you want me to do is what I want to be doing. And
Yeah.
so I'm totally happy to do this right now. And I'm stoked. Like this is the coolest job in the world is to be lead singer for the Newsboys. It's the coolest thing ever. But if that's not what you want me to do and you want me to go do something else that
Mhm.
has nothing to do with that, I'm so good with that and fine and content with that that it's all good.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pursue that with everything I've got until you tell me not to. And so
Mhm.
that's the season that we're in, all of us as a band. We've all just dug in 100%. We're like, we're going for this thing because we feel like that's what God wants us to do.
It feels to me like you're approaching that with a great deal of humility, even in being really content to having gone from being the lead singer to from Audio Adrenaline and Stellar Cart, and then the bass player, then you get more, you're not behind the scenes, you're on stage, but it's not like you're the lead singer. And then God brings you back around to, front the whole thing. But you're content. It feels like you were content in every position you were in. You didn't just, you weren't just praying like, let me be a lead singer again, and you just stepped in because that was the role that needed to be filled.
Yeah, and I mean, that's definitely what I'm trying to do, and it's it's not always it's not always perfect, but I think God has definitely worked on my heart and developed that you know serve wherever needed kind of mentality, and that's definitely spilled over into music and whatever role or channel I need to be in to properly serve is where I want to be, and it happens to be at the front and center right now, and so I'll just keep it going.
Tell me a little bit about your family. Do they tour with you? Do they stay home?
I've been married for 23 years, and my wife came out on the road with us in the van when we first got married, and she was selling T-shirts and just doing all of our business finances. She's the smart one in the family, and so and then she was a college professor, and then we had our daughter Emma in 2006, and she had her own little bunk on the bus where she would sleep, and so she was out on the road for the first 4 years of her life, and then started to go to real school. And so they came off the road in around 2010. And then I have a son named Jack who's 12. Emma's 18 now, and Jack is 12. And
Okay.
yeah, they she's about to go to college, and he is in sixth grade, just killing it. Loves sports, and they both do well in school. And so yeah, they're awesome.
That's incredible. That's incredible. How many months then are you on tour? A couple months away from them or
We try to tour weekends, and so we'll do like a
okay.
Friday, Saturday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe two times, and
Nice.
then take a weekend off, and then do that again. And then once or twice a year, we'll do like a West Coast run where we go out and we're out for 2 weeks, and then we come back. Or like this summer, we're going up to Canada, so we're going to British Columbia, and we're driving all across Canada for like 2 weeks. And so rarely we'll be out for more than a
Okay.
weekend, but we
It's
try
not
to.
like you're gone for months and months.
Yeah, yeah. So we're no, it's not like back in the day. Back in the day, when we didn't have kids or we
Yeah.
weren't married or whatever, it's just like, yeah, you go out for
Yeah.
3 months in the van, you stay with friends, and you go and do your thing. But now it's everybody's got families. We've all got kids, and so we want to be home as much as we can. So usually Monday through Wednesday or Monday through Thursday, we're home.
Okay. Somebody asked how you unwind when you're not touring. So what are some of your hobbies, things you enjoy outside of being in the band?
A couple things. I like my son and I go up to the Y and we play basketball. I used to play basketball. Actually, the reason I started playing guitar was because I was playing basketball in college and got hurt and just picked up a guitar for the first time when I was 19 and started playing. And then so now we go up and he says we got to go cook some middle schoolers and high schoolers up at the gym. So that's one of my favorite things to do. And then also I play golf, and so I've written a lot of songs on the golf course or at the driving range. And
Nice.
so usually on a day like today where well, it's a little cold today, it's like in the 40s. But if it gets above 50 degrees, I'll usually hit up Toby and we'll go out and play golf in the afternoon.
That's perfect. So you're based in Nashville.
Hmm.
That's so great. Well, congratulations
Thank you.
on walking into, your new role. Even though, so what song? If we could wrap up, what songs have you written that we would recognize that we all sing along to from the Newsboys?
Oh, with Newsboys, for this new album, the How Many Times song, I
Mhm.
wrote the song "In God We Trust," "Heaven on Earth," "Color," "Eyes on Heaven." I, I think is that. I think I wrote six of them on the new
Is
one.
there one that you're excited to sing more than any of the others? Your favorite? You have
I
a
mean,
favorite?
I think "How Many Times" is
How many
special to
times?
me. Yeah, it's the it's just the story behind it. Like you guys, I mean, in radio, I know that it's always special when there's a story that goes along with the song, because
Hmm.
that's what connects. I mean, there's tons of great songs out there, but
Yeah.
when a story is like that, I mean, I just know so many people have come up after the show and been like, man, that song is exactly what I'm going through or what I'm feeling. So
Do you ever get tired of hearing that?
no, I mean that's the good stuff, right? Like the all the work and all the travel and all the logistics and all the rehearsing and all the, you know, the things it takes to put on a show. And then you get to the show and you hear from somebody comes through the signing line after the show, and they're, you know, maybe they're in their 60s and they're like, this is my first concert I've ever been to, and it was so enjoyable. And you're just like, that's awesome. Or like little kids coming, it's their first concert. Or,
Yeah.
you know, people have stories about how the songs have impacted their lives and
Yeah.
changed their lives or saved their lives. And that's the stuff that never gets old. Each crowd is different. Each city is different. Each one is special. And
Yeah.
like I love to go into the venue before anybody gets in there, and it's an empty venue, and I go sit like I'm going to the show, and I want to see what would it be like if I walked into this theater or this arena and I wanted to go see a show tonight. And I look and I'm like, okay, that would be cool. Because a lot of people that come to shows, we know it's like you save up a lot of money to go to the show, and it's a special thing, and it could be a once in a lifetime thing, or it could be, you know, it's not something that a lot of people get to do all the time. And so we realize how special it is, and we try to treat it that way.
I think that speaks again to what I'm really hearing out of you is that humility to take the time to do that and to try to see it from a user's experience, so to speak, you know, a listener, and wonder what they're going to encounter instead of just assuming, you know, they're showing up because I'm awesome and the Newsboys are awesome. And yeah, don't ever lose that. However long God has you in music like this,
Yeah.
even though there's 100 other things you could probably, you know, pursue as well. I
Hey,
get that.
he's had me in it longer than I thought I'd be. So here we are.
I think that is a special kind of talent to continue to exist in it, right? And be fulfilled in it and trust God in it when it's so familiar. It's just so
Mm.
familiar. But that's beautiful, and your music speaks to so many people. So blessings on the worldwide revival nights. We cannot wait to see you on April 12 in Muskegon.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Adam. Thanks for listening to today's episode of This Lyric, That Truth. If you were inspired by today's conversation, feel free to share it with a friend and leave a 5-star review. If you're looking for more hope and encouragement in your music, download the Joy Media mobile app for free wherever you download your apps. I'm Ceci, and I so look forward to sharing more in-depth conversations with you as we talk about the lyrics that encourage us and shape our lives. Meet me back here next week for another episode of This Lyric, That Truth.